There seems to be virtually nothing offered to me by modern society, by this machine world, that I'm actually interested in. Up to this point in my life, I've done what I have to make progress within this machine world in order to basically, in order to please my family, in order to not be shunned by my family, in order to try to be a normal member of society. But I knew years ago, I knew once high school was over, and even before high school was over, that I didn't really want any part of this. I just ended up, I mean, I'm not going to a full story about all that, but I ended up choosing a career path that, yes, it exists within this machine world. It exists within that whole framework, this game that we all play here. But it at least allows me to extract some form of fulfillment or some form of purpose from my day-to-day life. And yes, that is a benefit. It's great. I'm sure it's much better than working a job where that doesn't exist. Working a job that I hate fully. That would be horrible. That plus this other sense of not even feeling like I want to be a part of this society. That wouldn't be good. So I think the only thing that's kept me here this long, or that's kept me functioning, at least from the outside, people think, they must think I'm somewhat normal if I have a job and I haven't screwed that up. So that's one thing. Like, yeah, that's a positive. But in general, looking back, as far as I can remember, even when I was a small child and thinking into the future of my life, I never realistically wanted to do anything. I never realistically wanted any part of it. The only things I've ever been interested in are these like momentary pleasures of the senses. That's what turns me on, but it's not enough to motivate me to dedicate my whole life to being a slave just to get these things, just to get some tokens so that I can spend my tokens on these cheap thrills and pleasures. I know that that's really oversimplifying things in the minds of many, but I'm attempting to express how I feel. I'm attempting to express feeling through words, which is very hard to do. So it's not as if originally I had these deep ambitions and this drive and these goals that I wanted to accomplish in life, and then somehow something changed me and I ended up losing my ability to act these things out or to reach these goals. It's not as if that happened. It's as if these things never existed. These goals, these ambitions never existed in the first place. The goals or ambitions that I have had tend not to apply. They don't seem to apply to this superficial, sick and twisted modern society, this slavery thing we have going on. I know a lot of people are into it. A lot of people love it. They want to change it. They want to, or if not change it, they just want to obey. They want to live their life and survive and get and end up hopefully, I guess, working a job that offers them the ability to retire early so that they can do so that I guess so that they can indulge in cheap thrills without the distraction of daily work for the last portion of their life. But none of that turns me on. None of that excites me. I don't want any of that. Sure, it would be great to retire early, but then what? I'm still going to be trapped in a machine world, probably in major debt at that point from other things, or just locked into contracts, at that point, no matter what it is. Or, even if I did retire early and I could just say, okay, now I'm selling everything, I'm just getting a big bunch of money, now I can use all my tokens to just indulge in life and do all of this traveling and pleasing my senses even more. Um, that again, that doesn't turn me on, especially imagining myself as an old man. I don't think that's very exciting to be doing those things. Um, so I'm trying to remember when this was. It was probably like when I was about to graduate high school, or when I just had graduated high school, and I was wondering like what do I want to do with my life. I was considering spending time in an ashram, or I was interested in life in a monastery, like that sort of thing. Basically, dedicating my time to mastering, or I guess yeah, mastering thought and the mind, and and learning about God, I guess you would say. And that might be a strange phrase to use there, but yeah, I was interested in that, and I was encouraged by others to stay here, that I had some sort of like light that I needed to share with the world, but I have since learned that this is not the case. Um, people people who are in love with the machine world, in love with this game of life that they have adopted, and they love it, like they're happy with it. People like that, they don't like being around me because, or should I say, they don't like being around me when I am allowing myself to express my thoughts and feelings freely, because I'm often or almost always pointing out what's really going on. I'm just trying to always, um, to me it's funny, maybe it's not funny to them. I tend to laugh in these moments, but I try to point out the truth in a situation, the reality in a situation, like the objective reality, especially in a feud of some kind. If people around me are feuding, I will step back and do my best to give a neutral perspective that exposes the truth. This seems to do nothing more than upset people, and I'm not here to upset people, so I'm going to try my best to stop doing that now, at least while I'm still here. But anyway, I mentioned, yeah, at the end of high school or whatever, whenever it was, I was thinking about that, and now here I am all this time later, and I'm thinking about it again, and I feel very seriously that at least I need to try that, because it seems like I could actually experience happiness in a life like that. Many people that I have spoken to or that I'm aware of cannot even begin to fathom how one could be attracted to such a life, or how they would imagine they would experience happiness from such a life. But and yeah, I don't know what to say to that other than I need to at least try, because I've seen so far that um so yeah, how can I put that, as much as I can enjoy these pleasures, these like pleasures of the flesh, pleasures of the senses, as much as they make me feel good when I experience them, I'm not interested in my entire life being that. My entire life is just moment to moment experiencing these temporary pleasures, these superficial pleasures, these cheap thrills afforded to me by my spending of tokens that I earned as a slave in a sick society. Sure, it's oversimplifying things to speak in such a general way like this. Like, what do I really mean? The only people who know what I mean are going to be people who feel what I feel. Because, like I said, this video is me trying to express a feeling. I'm not really trying to express like some sort of well-formed intellectual analysis of modern society or something. I'm trying to express feelings from my heart. You know, what I go through, what I feel living in this world. Um, and yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. There are many things that I just can't talk about when it relates to this. But in general, what I'm feeling recently, or what I've been thinking about the past several days, especially, but recently in general, is that uh, I need to make some kind of major change in my approach to life, because so far and for a long time, almost everything I do is a distraction. Almost every single thing I do ends up seeming like it's just a distraction when I really step back and look at it. Even if it is something that people around me would praise me for, or pat me on the back for, like, working a steady job, earning money. Like, that's a good thing. Like, I've done well. It's better than not doing that. So that's like a something that people would encourage and think is good. And as I mentioned, yeah, I can extract meaning from my job. It is good in many ways, I guess. But it's still, to me, seems like it's just a distraction. To distract myself forever doesn't sound like a good plan, and it doesn't feel like a very enjoyable way to spend my time. Um, this is just me trying to be honest with myself recently. Just thinking about everything. Like, of course, I like money. I like when I get paid and I have more money in my bank account and I can buy things that I want with it and all of that. But like, none of that ever lasts. None of it ever lasts. It feels good when the item is new and then it's gone. Or like in a relationship, it feels good when the relationship is new, then slowly it fades and whatever. Like, these pleasures, these pleasures of modern life, things that are supposed to be normal, things that everyone is supposed to do. You're supposed to have like a car and a house and a wife and kids and lots of cool shit to play with. Um, it's not that I'm like some alien who just doesn't understand. I can easily understand even the parts, even the things I mentioned that I maybe haven't experienced yet. I can imagine easily how I could enjoy those for a time, but not for my entire life. Um, None of it is satisfying. Nothing here is satisfying. Maybe this is just my country. Maybe it's just my location in my country because I've been living here my whole life. Maybe I don't need to maybe I don't need to totally opt out of society. Maybe I just need to move. And maybe I will do that first. But it really doesn't seem like it because I've traveled at least a little bit in my short life, and almost everywhere. Uh, okay, so yeah, the places I've been to that aren't like this, where I live right now in the United States, in California, the places that where the machine world isn't that well developed and it doesn't have such a strong hold over the minds of the general public. These places that aren't like that yet, they're moving in that direction clearly. I have never been to the Amazon and like spent time with a tribe or something who has no idea about any of this. The places I've been that might be described as less developed than where I am, they are developing. Their media, especially when you pay attention to it, it's aiming them in this direction. Everything is moving in this direction. I find it sick, sad, depressing, disturbing. Um, I can only distract myself so much with a job helping others or doing this and that within this life before I go back to looking at how sick the big picture is to me. I don't mean to say that society is objectively wrong. I just mean to say that I personally don't seem to agree with much of what's happening. My morality doesn't seem to align very well with the morality of others around me. I think I would do better. I would be happier. I would finally be able to relax if I lived in a much more simple life that was far away from this current way of life that I am living. How this is all going to happen, whether or not I'm going to make these changes, I don't know. I just felt like making this video because this is how I've been feeling. I think maybe some other people might feel like this way and they can be like, hey, I relate to you. Cool video or something. I don't know. Um, yeah. I'm going to be looking, I mean, how soon major changes will happen, I don't know. But I'm actually going to be looking into realistic possibilities, at least where I can spend a time, or at least where I can like take time off work, spend time living in in an ashram or a monastery or some kind of thing like that. I mean, I guess I don't know anything about these things. I never have done it. I've never fully done it. Only like read things in the past and heard things from people. So I would have to see how it really is. And of course, spending time as a guest in a place like this versus committing your life to being there are two very different things. But I need to read more, learn more, experience more in that realm to see if that is a viable option for me. Because I'm not going to last if I keep trying to force myself to stay in this sick world. And maybe it's because I was born into a sick world, but whatever the reason is, I am a sick person. I have been for a really long time. I have felt like I am a sick person. And nothing in this sick society seems to be able to help me in any real way. The only breaks I can feel, the only like break in the patterns, the only chance I get to relax seems to be when I am fully surrounded by nature, when I am in nature. That being said, spending the weekends in nature or something like that, even if it's every weekend, it's not enough to fully relieve the pressure. It's not enough to break the cycle because I'm still living full time in something that I perceive to be evil. So what can be done about that? When I can feel myself getting progressively more sick as a result of living in a sick environment. I just wonder how people have done this for so long. I guess the world is different than it was like 80 years ago, but I think of like 80, 90-year-old people, like how 80 or 90-year-old people who have lived within a big city or within a city, within the machine world, and just worked their whole lives. I wonder how they've been able to do it without without offing themselves or something like this. Because I'm only 27 and this shit, almost all of it makes me sick. And the things that don't make me sick, they make me feel good for a short period of time, and then it flattens out again. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing fulfilling. There's nothing that I have found yet that is very fulfilling in modern society. The fulfilling things tend to involve outdoor activities in which you are afforded the opportunity to escape this modern society. Yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll stop the video. I'm going to continue thinking about this. I should probably get rid of a lot of my shit so that I actually keep moving in that direction, because technology is addictive. My current way of life is addictive, and I think I'm feeling this way, and I have been feeling this way for a reason. And distracting myself or medicating myself or whatever I might do, these things wouldn't sound like a very good idea. I should actually pay attention to how I feel and like try to adjust things accordingly so that I can move in the right direction for my life. So yeah, thanks for watching for 19 minutes. Have a good day.